Hey everyone, Ryan Young, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. Hope you're doing well. So let's back to the board again, and what I wanted to cover today was what is an advanced technique, what is a basic technique. So a lot of times when you're starting off Jiu-Jitsu, when you're just starting off Jiu-Jitsu, what will happen is you will start off in a fundamentals class, and your school will say, well, you need to go through this basic criteria, and you need to do this for about 3 to 6 months or until the instructor says you're okay, so that you can graduate to the advanced class. There are a couple definitions for advanced. One is the members who are advanced, right? And the other is the technical information. So let's just call them concepts, are so-called advanced. If you're a new guy and you're training and they're telling you you're not allowed to go to the advanced, you're still basic, fundamentals, right? What's your goal in life? Your goal in life is to get out of this class and go into this class, right? Because once you're in this class, you've now crossed that line into being an advanced practitioner of BJJ. However, I have to tell you that by and large, that's the wrong way to think about it. If you have the ability to, you should go to both, not just one. So what a lot of people think is they start here, and once they start here, they now separate out and only go to this class. Why? Because they're advanced. I'm not beginner anymore. So here's what happens. The fundamentals for pretty much every school that was founded by an old school member. And the reason why is a lot of new school people don't know the fundamentals. Their fundamentals are different. Their fundamentals are actually something that you might call advanced. But the fundamental techniques, headlock escape, close the distance, punch defense, bear hug escape from the front, from the back, over the arms, under the arms, grab defense, base, slap defense. I'm just kind of naming things off the top of my head. Mount escape, basic choke, basic guard pass. These are all fundamental basic techniques and concepts. And once you learn this in that class, you want to then go to advanced. So what's a kind of an advanced thing that you might see today? Stuff that you see on the competition circuit that all the top guys are doing. You know, they might be playing, most of it, believe it or not, is all a variation of some kind of guard. All open guard, right? In fundamental basic, you'll have closed guard. But once you get to advanced, they'll say, you know, nobody plays closed guard anymore. You know, and that's where stuff like when you're an advanced member, then the upa choke no longer works because, you know, nobody does it anymore because it doesn't work. We don't do headlocks anymore. We don't do kesa escape. Kesa, you know, is the headlock on the ground. We don't necessarily do punches. We'll do punches up here, close the distance, but once you get to here, we're now focused on competition. And nobody punches in competition anyway, so why practice it, right? You might do no-gi stuff. No-gi could be seen as advanced. So the advanced members go and do the advanced concepts, right? De la Hiva. You know, there's even that worm guard, koala guard, upside guard, sitting guard, bow and arrow chokes, all that kind of stuff, the advanced stuff. Here's where the problem is. When you think of a fundamental and advanced concept, here's what happens. To me, if you ask me what fundamental concepts are the ones that when you learn how to do it, there's maybe a 75 to 80% success rate, right? Once you learn how to do it, once you have a choke sunk in, you can apply it and it's in. Once you have a basic armbar in, you can apply it and it's in. Once you do a basic scissor sweep, you apply it and it's in. Once you know how to hold the mount, you apply it and it's in. Once you take the back and you hold the seat belt, you apply it and it's in. Now, the difference between 80 to get you to 100% just comes down to better execution, right? The more you do it, the closer you will get to 100%. But upon learning it the first day, you'll probably be about 75% successful with it. That's a basic concept. It also is what I call a universal concept. A universal concept to me is one that applies in any type of game. Gi, no gi, sport, street fight, submission only, right? A universal concept will apply in all of them. The fundamentals are the high percentage moves, right? That a beginner can do. And an advanced person will do it at an even higher percentage. Now, what's an advanced concept? An advanced concept is a concept that might only have, at best, 50% chance of success. And that's with an advanced practitioner. So if an advanced practitioner at best is going to be 50-50 with it, what does that make a less advanced practitioner? Less than 50. So a less advanced practitioner doing this particular technique, advanced technique, will fail more often than not. Whereas that same practitioner learning a fundamental concept will be successful more often than not, once that concept is sunk in. I'll give an example. And Professor Jack Toffer, who's one of our black belts in our California studio, kind of recalled this conversation that he had heard between a prominent Gracie family member and another prominent Gracie family member. So one Gracie family member was telling the other, hey, you know, from this De La Riva setup, you know, this open guard concept, I can sweep you, I can take your back, I can go into a knee bar, I can put you in a triangle, and he was just naming all these things that he could do to the other Gracie family member. That other Gracie family member was, I'm kind of skeptical. He goes, no, look, you can do this, 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 and this. So here's what he said. You know, so this family member who was all into this concept, he was going over an advanced concept. But what the other skeptical family member said was this. He says, look, he said, here, take my sleeves and, you know, put your feet wherever they need to be. Hook, push, whatever you want, right? So once he got it, then he says, okay, go, do something. So sure enough, you know, Gracie family member on his back went and did something. Choked him, armbarred, whatever. And he said, good. He goes, you got it. Now, he goes, I take your foot off. And I keep your foot off. You got my sleeve here, you got your other foot hooked here, you got my other sleeve here. Now make it work. He couldn't. He went from 100% success rate to 100% fail rate because that one point of contact that he had, which was one of his feet, was now gone. So he said, okay, you know, the Gracie family member standing, he says, okay, let's put your foot back. He goes, now, let me take your other foot off. Now try it. Same thing, couldn't do it. He goes, let's put your foot back. Here, let me take this grip off. Now take care of it. Couldn't do it. So just by the guy on the bottom losing one handle of the 4, that whole concept was blown out, totally blown out. That's your so-called advanced technique. So what is my definition of an advanced technique? An advanced technique is one that can only be executed by somebody who's so advanced that he knows what he needs to have all those pieces in before he can get anything done. And he understands that. Whereas a beginner wouldn't understand that. But no matter what, that advanced technique, no matter how good you get at it, if you lose just one part of 4 in this case, you now have 0% success. So your entire success lies, you know, that 50-50 chance of success lies on you having everything you need to get it done. One thing missing, it's all gone. So here's the way I think about it. If that concept requires so many things to fall in place for it to be successful, I'm not even going to bother. Why? Because I'm old and I'll forget something. I want something that I don't need to have that many things put in place, or something that's much easier to put in place than that. And with that, I will work on that over and over. I would try to get this 75 to 80% success rate up to 100%. So now, if we go with the Pareto principle video that we did earlier, where out of 100 things that I know, I take the square root of that, which is 10, and I just work on the 10 things that I have that are like this, and get them up to 100%, that'll make me unstoppable. Rather than working on the remaining 90 things that I know that are all like this. If I can get my opponent to play in this area, then I will get him every time. However, if he forces me to play here, I'll get him 50% of the time. That's why you can have somebody like a Rickson Gracie, right? Rickson Gracie, when he was in his heyday training with people, he would beat you with something that you knew. He would tell you what he would beat you with. You can prepare yourself all you want. If he says, I'm going to choke you from mount, you're going to get choked from mount. He would tell you what he's going to take, and he would do it. and you had no way around it. Why? Because choke from the mount is one of these fundamental concepts. And he can do it, nobody's perfect, but he could do it to say a 99.99% ratio. Whereas your defense was maybe 80%. So he's gonna beat you every single time. Now, if Rickson were to spend any time on this, and he may have, right? He would take away from that. But he knows that if he can get you to play one of those 10 moves in this case, those 10 moves, he will be able to get you every single time. It doesn't matter that he doesn't know that stuff, which is why you would have, I'll give you an idea, which is why you would have people coming up from Brazil, right? Another one of his black belts tells a story about some black belts that had come up from Brazil and they were world champions and, you know, in the absolute class. So, you know, the best of the best come up to train with Rickson. Rickson, the first day trains with him, and it's like, man, you know, I can't, you know, really figure out how to deal with this. But the next day, by the next day, he'd kind of stewed on it over the night. The next day he got in there for their training session and he just demolished them. Because all he had to do was find out how he can get this opponent to lose, in this case, one of his 4 things he needed. And once he went from 4 to 3, Rickson was able to blow through every single time. So Rickson had figured out that all he needed to do was just take away one of those handles. Once he did that, it was all over. And the other guy's fundamental game, his defense, wasn't as good enough to keep up with Rickson's offense. In summary, a fundamental technique versus an advanced technique. If I had to choose, and I do get to choose, right, what I get to do and what I get to teach our students, and really that's kind of a cultural thing down from our lineage, right? So Rickson to Dave to me, right? What we do is we concentrate on the fundamental techniques, but we do the fundamental concepts, the white belt concepts, at a black belt level, right? So let's kind of go over that again. Here we have a white belt concept executed at a black belt level. And that is the key to the difference between a fundamental concept and an advanced concept. You want to do your white belt concepts and you want to execute them at a black belt level. That is a difference between somebody who's good and who works their need to know concepts versus somebody who's pretty good and who knows a lot of good to know concepts. Concentrate on what you learned as a white belt. Concentrate on your fundamental concepts, and I want you to do it and I want you to execute it at a black belt level. Now, somebody would say, well, you know, when I do this concept as a white belt, this blue belt always beats me with it. Well, of course. He's doing your white belt concept at a blue belt level. What about the blue belt saying, oh, this purple belt always beats me? Yes. The purple belt is doing what you do, but at a purple belt level. So on and so forth up to black belt. That's how a black belt can stop what you know, even though it's the same thing. So one thing that I tell my students is this. If you were to take everything that I teach you from your white to blue belt level, everything I teach you, all those concepts that you learn from white to blue, and if you were to not learn a single new thing, but just execute those white belt concepts at the blue, the purple, the brown, and the black belt level, you will be among the best black belts that have ever walked the planet. Now, of course, when you get to blue belt, we do add some concepts. When you get to purple belt, we do add some concepts. Just what you learn in white belt, it's not going to be all that you know. But had we not taught you anything additional, those concepts in white belt are so complete that if you got that good at it, you got to as near to 100% level execution as you could possibly get to, nobody would touch you. But like I said, we add stuff as we go along. But a blue belt will go back and work on white belt concepts. So today, we had a purple belt, and we had a couple of blue belts, and we had a bunch of white belts. So they were all learning the same thing, but the colored belts are the ones that are executing it with a few more details in there. So with the blue belt, I'm gonna work on, hey, okay, I want to start working on this now with that concept. With the purple belt, okay, now let's add this to that concept. The white belts, we just teach them what the white belt should know. But like I said, if they were to just stop learning new stuff and just work on it, and get to that finer point of execution, they'd be as good as you'd ever see, and they wouldn't need to know anything else. Anyway, that's kind of, it's kind of an extreme thing. You know, we don't do that, like I said, but it's a good way for you to think about it. So when you think about it, when you think about your own training, ask yourself, the stuff that I learned in my white belt, how good am I at it? Or did I abandon it once I got into the advanced class? Or did I abandon it once I got my blue belt? UPA escape. How many of you can do an UPA escape that's successful almost every single time you try it? I would venture to say probably of all you guys watching, maybe only 5% of you say that, yeah, I can pretty much do it every time, even though you're advanced and going up against advanced opponents. The problem is you just haven't refined it yet. A lot of you, like I said, when you hit blue belt, you stop doing it because it doesn't work anymore. Right? So here's a good example. Go to Budo Jake's video and when he interviewed RICKSON. And toward the end of the video, you'll see where RICKSON is going over with him the UPA escape from the mount. And Budo Jake's a black belt, but yet RICKSON was able to roll him like it was nothing. And the reason is because RICKSON's execution is so refined that Jake would not be able to stop it. Right, also because, you know, Jake learned it as a white belt, probably never did it after that as well, because he thought it didn't work. So don't abandon your fundamental concepts for the hot dot or the shiny object in this weird ass sweep that you're looking at right now, okay? Go back to playing the basic stuff and get better at it. Trust me, you will get better and you will be as good as you want to be. Anyway, that's all I got for this topic. I want to thank you guys for your subscribing to the channel, clicking that bell so that you get the most recent updates that we do. Also supporting the channel, if you choose to, through a variety of links that we have. They're Amazon links for products, for books, for gis, and also for RICKSON Gracie's self-defense unit, as well as our KAATARO belts, as well as our Patreon channel. Also, for those of you that want any one-on-one counseling with regard to helping you build your game, or you want to kind of tailor your plan for your own training, I'd be happy to help you. You can get to me through Clarity, and the link will be in the description as well. Anyway, that's all. Take care. Happy training. Bye-bye now.